is Will Kane of The Will Kane Show, and you can now hear my show every weekday at WIBX. I do things a little differently when I'm behind the microphone because I turn it over to the listeners to learn and really dig into the issues that impact everyday Americans. The Will Kane Show lets you keep ahead of the headlines and understand what's really going on in the world with in-depth discussion from leading experts and the brightest minds. From politics to sports, nothing is off topic. Listen to The Will Kane Show weekdays at 6, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
I'm coming, Davey. I'm coming. Good morning. We are live at Boulevard Diner in Whitesboro, and are we calling this Coffee with a Cop today?
We certainly are. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little modified because we're focusing on one topic, but still we're here to meet with the community. We got several members here, and great way to get out in the community and just connect with folks on a very important topic.
And
today.
the topic is
Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah, which is this month really, really important. Here at the microphone is Investigator Renee DeLong from the United County Sheriff's Office Domestic Violence Unit, and you have some numbers for us over there.
Correct. So statistically speaking, victims that are engaged with services or connected to services once law enforcement have been involved are 6.5 times more likely to survive that relationship,
Wow.
to have a positive outcome, which I think is important. Oftentimes, when victims come in contact with law enforcement, they feel the only remedy potentially could be the criminal justice system, and that's not necessarily always what they want to happen.
Right.
And a lot of times using our community partners is actually the right route for survivors and can lead to a positive outcome.
And a lot of times the abuser doesn't want the abused to speak to someone.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of mind games going on.
There's a power and control wheel is what we talk about.
And when another party gets in, they can begin to lose that.
Yes.
So
and again, if we're talking statistics, when there is some type of intervention that occurs, so whether it's a criminal justice intervention or the survivor decides enough is enough, that is research based that it's the most dangerous time for a survivor is during those first 2 months of separation. They're at much higher risk during that period of time.
And ultimately, you can have an order of protection, but that it's not a brick wall surrounding you to protect you.
Correct.
It certainly helps with the law, but it can still be a very dangerous time.
And that's an important topic that you bring up, and I think that it's very important for people to understand because you hear that a lot. An order of protection is just a piece of paper. But what that order of protection does is it gives criminal weight to acts that...
I don't know why, but I'm losing your microphone for some reason, and I don't know what happened. Can you test it right now?
Testing?
Yeah. You were like fading away, as if you were walking away from the microphone. Try it again.
Is that better?
I got you now. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
okay.
Continue.
Yeah, so it gives an order of protection provides criminal weight to acts that wouldn't typically carry that same that same weight, and that's very important.
It is important, and I think people when they realize, well, it's not going to stop the person from coming after me or approaching me. Why have it? Well, it is important to have because it can stop the next incident, which could be the fatal incident, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Great stuff, what you do. It's got to be difficult at times because you see a lot.
We do. We see a lot, but it's important work that it needs to have more of a light shined on it, which is why times like these, months like these, it's important to put a focus on because domestic violence doesn't just impact the family within its four walls. It's a community issue.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right. Thank you so much. And as we said, Investigator Renee DeLong, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice job. Who are we bringing in next here, Sheriff?
We are bringing in Investigator Ed Constantine. He's from the Sheriff's Office Crisis Response Team to talk about...
Who is the most popular guy in the world of talk today? Whenever anybody's talking, the first thing that comes up is mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah.
This is Investigator
You have to
Constantine.
be really tight on that microphone there, if you could. Come right on there. And then...
and also with him, I'll have him introduce who he's got with him here and the unit that they work in. So
all right.
That's all you, Ed.
All right, guys. Ed, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So explain what it is that you do with the Sheriff's Office.
So I'm the mental health guy, as you said. I go to all the mental health calls with my partner, Carolyn Walworth here. She works for the Neighborhood Center for the Crisis Response Team. And we'll go in where anybody's in some type of distress.
Extremely important, and something we've talked about on the air previously, and I know you'd hand out those envelopes, if I recall. Sometimes someone who is having a mental health incident or moment, or suffers from mental health issues, may not react the way a police officer on the highway would expect them to react. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we go through a lot of training to make it so that it's not your standard response. We get taught how to react to people with different disabilities or mental health disorders. That way you're not just doing the same approach to everybody every time. It's kind of catered to that person with that problem.
Yeah.
If they don't want to speak to me, Carolyn is perfect right here because she is not a police officer, and a lot of times that makes it so they'll talk.
Carolyn, this is not an insult. It is a compliment. You look less imposing than he does. Get right up on that microphone.
Yes, I do not wear a uniform. Typically, it's just street clothes, and sometimes they definitely are more open to talking to me.
Yeah. Which is talking. If you can get them to talk, I'm assuming that's the first big step.
It does de-escalate them.
Yeah. How much would you say, and anybody can take this, mental health plays a role in, broadly it probably does. And if you're able to pull a trigger and shoot at somebody or commit a violent act, there's got to be something in terms of mental health there. But going beyond that, specifically someone with mental health issues, how often is that is that behind something when crime occurs in the area?
I would say it's probably significant.
Yeah.
It's not just an easy answer to say, but there's a good chance almost everything.
Yeah.
And then there's that direct correlation to domestic violence in a lot of cases, and that's where their work kind of fits into today.
Yeah.
And they do a lot. I mean, obviously these two respond to the mental health calls. That's just part of what they do. Another big part of what they do, and I know that Investigator Constantine is really proud of the fact that the follow-ups they do with people after they've initially dealt with them, and he can talk about that, significantly decreases the number, significantly decreases the response that police have to go back to that same address because they're in treatment or they're getting help. So I don't know, Ed, if you want to touch on that at all.
Yeah, so with that being said, instead of just going when they're at their worst moment, we try to follow up on everything on multiple occasions. That way they're not just seeing us every time they're having a bad day. They'll see us when they're having a good day, and we're there to help or just talk.
And they know you by name?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be a way for them to be able to have somebody reach out to if they're getting to a point. So if they're not all the way to Z, but they're maybe, from A to D, they're like, oh, I could reach out, I have the safety plan, or I know these people can help me. They'll reach out and make it so they don't get to that worst day again.
It is very difficult, I feel like, as a community. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys. But as a community, we know many people who, and we come in touch with a lot of people who have a mental health issue. Harmless, you feel, but all it takes sometimes is going off the medicine that can actually, and we've seen some terrible cases here locally where someone has stopped taking their medicine and the end result is horrific. So I'm assuming that plays a role, which is why I think we always complain about why are we giving these people cell phones? Can you talk about that? Because someone who can't afford a cell phone and has a mental health issue it is important that they have communication, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the way I look at it is if you give them the opportunity to get themselves help before it gets to the point where somebody gets help for them, you could have a better outcome in the long run.
Yeah.
And there is another member of their team that's not with us because she's home recovering from some surgery. So I don't know if Ed, you want to talk about her?
He's talking about Addie. Everybody knows Addie.
Yeah, everybody knows
Emotional
Addie.
support dog,
She's-
golden retriever.
Okay.
She's a therapy dog. She just turned 2. She's doing great. Everybody loves her. Softest thing you'll ever feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. There is something about animals, like a dog, and you see it like in an elderly home when if somebody brings a dog in, it's like it's the biggest moment. So that can really soften everything up just a little bit.
Not just in mental health calls, but they've used Addie, whether it's a victim that doesn't want to talk, or even a suspect that doesn't want to talk, and just the presence of. And she's a sweet dog. She just loves everybody, and so she's a real important part of their team that's out there every day. So.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Carolyn, anything?
Do you love being on the radio? Because neither of you look like this is your favorite thing to do. But
That's my face. Thank you.
But it's like I said, they play a critical role in the work we do every day. And Investigator Constantine, he's also a veteran, served in the United States Marine Corps, and just again, it's another specialty unit that we have that. These are people passionate about the work they do, and at the end of the day, we just want to keep people safe in our community. And those folks out there that need help, they're here to help, and they're not always here to take you away. A vast majority of their work is just helping people out when they're having a moment.
I just want to throw one more thing before we go is call if you need help. Don't let a stigma block you from getting what you need. Everybody needs something.
Well, and also I have to say, especially working in radio and talk show hosts, especially on the national side, it becomes so easy to just say, well, we got to be tough. You got to be tough on these people. No more, no more soft stuff. That's a woke situation. That's really on the ground what you guys deal with. You see it firsthand. That's not the reality of. I assume that's not the reality. In some cases, I'm sure it is. But explain that.
Well, it's not being soft. It's getting yourself help. So think about it. You got a physical injury. There's no different.
Right.
Your brain's an organ. You got an injury internally there. So you just need to get yourself back to your regulation, to your baseline. That way you're not affecting the people around you. Nobody wants to be around you anymore. You just want to get yourself help. That way you can be yourself.
Yeah. And people, sometimes, when people are struggling, the people around them become exhausted because they've been dealing with it for so long, they turn away. And that can, I'm assuming, knowing they can reach out to you guys is a big deal. All right, thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you do. It's I got time to squeeze. You want to squeeze one more in here?
Yep. Want to bring Mary in quick? Sure.
I'll bring them in after the break. Let me take the break first,
All right.
and we'll squeeze everybody in. We're live here at there she is, but don't worry, we'll get you in a second. We're live here at Boulevard Diner. Everywhere I look, there's like these amazing desserts. Not good. I mean, really good.
Surrounded by
by them.
So I'm getting real hungry. So.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Let me break, Davey. We'll come back to an update on the news. It's Friday morning. Crisp one. We definitely reached temperatures below freezing this morning. We'll come right back to Boulevard Diner at WIBX.
Judge Gregory Amoroso, supervising judge of 7 city courts in 5 area counties with over a decade of experience on the bench. Presiding judge of Oneida County's Drug Treatment Court, offering a lifeline to individuals struggling with substance abuse, supporting families.
I'm Judge Greg Amoroso. I've spent my professional career in criminal and civil law as both an attorney and a judge, serving my community, seeking justice. But the most rewarding part of my service has been working outside
Hey, Bill.
to tackle substance abuse in our region.
You want me to go
by
right from
linking
the break
those
into the
plagued with
news?
addiction to needed services
Okay.
while holding them accountable to their legal obligations. We're advancing personal
Gotcha.
recovery, rebuilding relationships, and empowering individual
Sounds good,
purpose
too.
while reducing future crime. As your Supreme Court Justice, I'll take that same innovative, outside-the-box thinking to challenges before the New York State bench. I ask for your vote.
Paid for by committee to elect Judge Gregory Amoroso. ElectJudgeAmoroso.com.
Hi everyone, it's Lisa from Fit Body Boot Camp in Whitesboro and Clinton. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're turning sweat into support with our Burpees for Boobies Challenge. Here's how it works. All month long, you pay $1 to nominate someone to do a burpee, and every dollar goes directly to breast cancer research. It's a fun way to get involved, call out your friends, and raise money for an incredible cause. And if you're new to Fit Body, don't forget, we're also offering 3 free sessions to help you get started. So stop in, join the fun, and let's make every burpee count together.
Don't overpay for your next mattress. Take advantage of Mattress Express's guaranteed lowest price program. Bring in any locally advertised price on a mattress we carry, and we will beat the price. Go to mattressexpressny.com.
RSV is a common contagious virus that in older adults can lead to life-threatening illness or even death. The first RSV vaccine for ages 60 and older is now available at Kinney Drugs. Stop by or visit kinneydrugs.com to RSVP for your RSV shot.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Here's the latest from the WIBX newsroom. I'm Doug Callan. Jurors are expected to hear more testimony today in the murder trial of 3 former corrections officers. Yesterday, the court heard from an inmate and nurse practitioner at Marcy Correctional Facility. Both individuals were at the prison when inmate Robert Brooks was allegedly severely beaten by Matthew Gallagher, Nicholas Keefer, and David Kingsley in December of 2024 before Brooks passed away at a nearby hospital in Utica. Trial is likely going to take multiple weeks to complete. New information is being released about an incident in Pulaski that triggered a shelter-in-place alert. Authorities say 58-year-old Mark Van Warmer was involved in a domestic dispute with his son on Wednesday and is accused of choking the victim before pointing a gun at him. Van Warmer left the scene, and residents received an alert about an armed man in the community. He was later taken into custody and will face charges. A New Hartford man was arrested on charges that he engaged in sexually explicit text messages with a minor. The United County Sheriff's Office says they arrested 40-year-old Chad Biamonte of the town of New Hartford. He was arrested Thursday and has been charged with endangering the welfare of a child. A fire in Salisbury destroyed a home, but the 2 people inside were able to get out safely. Fire officials say the family was relying on solar to power the home, which sent energy to a panel of lithium-ion batteries. It's believed one of the batteries exploded, causing the intense fire. Officials from Chobani announced updated plans for their 1.4 million square feet food processing plant at Griffiths in Rome in front of the Rome Planning Board on Tuesday. Construction is expected to begin this winter and will conclude next fall. The plant should be up and running for the start of 2027, according to a story in the Daily Sentinel. The 200-year celebration of the Erie Canal continues today and tomorrow. The Seneca Chief is a replica of the first boat to travel the canal from Buffalo to New York City 200 years ago. The first stretch of the canal opened in Rome, traveling to the lock in Utica. Today's celebration continues at Herkimer, Gems Along the Mohawk, and Waterfront Grill. The events scheduled tomorrow will be at Benton's Landing in Little Falls. And Angela Vanderhoof, who spent years as a history teacher and then spent decades as the head of the ARC Oneida Lewis chapter, has passed away. Family members say she died last Thursday peacefully at her home. She was 90 years old. That's the latest. I'm Doug Callan for WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Cold morning, freeze warnings will
go
away.
To break after
Temperatures
this?
even dipping into the upper teens in the northern Adirondacks. Sunshine today, 63. Tonight, mainly clear, 40. So not quite as cold. North country will be a little chillier. I see a little rain get thrown in here tomorrow afternoon. Nothing widespread, 68. Maybe a little rain on Sunday, 65, and a chance of rain on Monday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stijik, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Are your windows old and tired? Hard to put up and down? Builder's grade windows just aren't made to last very long. Patriot Home Solutions is a different kind of window company. No games or gimmicks, no long drawn-out sales presentations, just high-quality, custom-fit windows at reasonable prices made right here in New York. And right now, you can get up to $2,000 off new windows from Patriot and NYSERDA, plus 0% interest for 18 months. Most homeowners qualify for the savings, and income is not one of the requirements. So write this number down, 315-401-0440. That's 401-0440. Patriot Home Solutions will tell you right over the phone if you qualify. Don't miss your chance to save up to $2,000 on new windows. Funds are limited, so call before they run out. Learn more at callpatriothomesolutions.com. That's callpatriothomesolutions.com.
Cold weather will be here before you know it. At the same time, power outages are on the rise. So here's an important question. If the power goes out when it's really cold, do you have a way to stay warm? If not, you've got to check out the Avesta off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's a compact, portable space heater that doesn't use electricity. It runs on something called canned heat, which is an indoor safe fuel. It's completely off-grid, and it can heat up a 200 square foot room in a matter of minutes. With Avesta stashed in your closet, you can rest easy, knowing you and your family will stay warm, even if the power goes out. Plus, it doubles as a stove to boil water or cook food without electricity or propane. The best part is, you can get Avesta and a bunch of other free gifts when you order the Winter Prep Special from My Patriot Supply. Just go to MyPatriotSupply.com to see everything included. This offer won't last long, and neither will this nice fall weather, so go to MyPatriotSupply.com today. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CLEAN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Celebrating 100 years. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
Good, the wonderful Boulevard Diner with Sheriff Maciol. It's Coffee with a Cop today, and the topic is a serious one this morning, and that is domestic violence. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October, and Sheriff, there's a lot of effort being put into domestic violence and mental health here in the area.
There is, and we talked about a bunch of different aspects already just in the first hour, but with us right now we have Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshaw and Assemblyman Brian Miller, and like I said earlier when we were talking about who's going to be on today, our elected officials here in our region, they get it, and we're very, very, very fortunate because I talk to my colleagues all around the state, and they're not like the Mohawk Valley. And again, it doesn't matter what party a person belongs to. These folks get it. They do the right thing, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to come on today and just speak about their efforts and doing what they do to protect people who are victims of domestic violence.
Marianne, would you just take that mic right off there? Just pull on it, and it'll come right off. That way you can reach it. Obviously, this is an important topic, and so often we see terrible stories where a domestic violence case leads to something really, really bad.
Absolutely, and to what the sheriff says, it's a two-way street. He is always open, welcome to come, and he does come out to Albany. He meets with, when he comes, we schedule a meeting with the executive as well as the leadership within the assembly to discuss these issues. In the budget, much of this funding has gone to nonprofits to work and collaborate. As some of your investigators had spoke earlier, and that's how it works. In fact, I know it's the sheriff's show, but Amanda Maciol came out to Albany.
Yeah.
Because she is a part of a team with Marissa Vollmer, and they are handling a lot of issues similar with these partnerships. I do feel that this funding has to include law enforcement, so that I do have some pushback. I know the nonprofits do a great job, but if law enforcement's not a part of this, when we talk about domestic violence, the word violence is in there for a reason.
Yeah.
So we need our law enforcement partners.
Well, I'm assuming a lot of there has to be training.
Incredible amount of training,
Yeah,
and that's what the Assemblywoman's referring to. And she mentioned my daughter. I just want to say she's a member of the Utica Police Department. She's been on almost 9 years, and what she does is exactly what Investigator Constantine and Carolyn do here for the sheriff's office that we just had on. But the workload that these folks have it's intense. But the Assemblywoman's correct. I mean, the funding is critical for us to be able to continue to do this stuff.
Someone, Brian Miller, in here as well here this morning, and Brian. We were talking. There used to be facilities where people would go and get help, and at some point, 25, 30 years ago, we decided let's shut them all down and
just let everybody
hope
out,
for the best.
Hope for the best. Let them out in the streets. Our mental health funding really has to be restored, and 20 years ago, I was a county legislator, and when the state closed down the facilities here in Utica, we've seen a uptick. We've seen it every day. But in the assembly, like the Assemblywoman said, funding is critical for all the agencies, the public help out there, along with the. With law enforcement, but we've been very fortunate to pass a law, Melanie's Law, which was a very tragic event that happened because of a domestic violence issue. And just to make it really quick, Melanie's Law was the order of protection wasn't extended to the entire family if you weren't a minor. And one of the family members lost their lives, Melanie, because of a domestic violence issue. She wasn't offered the order of protection, so we were able to bipartisanly pass this law that the order of protections are extended past the minors to the entire the family out there. So we do work on these things every day, and we bail reform is still a big issue on this. So there's a lot of work to be done in Albany, and the session will be starting in January.
There is a correlation between the two, the mental health and domestic violence, clearly, and just a number of cases where we've seen. And there's the one really big one that happened here with the school teacher, and going off the medicine. You're on medicine to treat in a lot of cases it's a severe mental illness, and decide to go off the medicine, and sometimes the medicine doesn't make you feel good, or you just you can't get the medicine, or whatever it might be, and then so this is such a large problem. That involves mental health. It involves treatment. It involves. It's no easy fix. Is what I guess I'm not saying very well, but what I'm trying to say.
But we're really fortunate here that our law enforcement agencies work so well together. From the sheriffs with the state police and all the town and village police on these issues. So Rob's doing a great job. His guys are doing a great job. We're very happy to have them.
And you mentioned bail reform, and I just want to again take this opportunity to thank these two because they get it on that topic too. Talking specifically about domestic violence, and I know bail is not designed to hold someone in jail, but when someone is held on bail, even if it's for a few hours after domestic, those are the most critical hours because that's when law enforcement, the service providers, in our case the YWCA, can put a safety plan together for the victim.
Yeah.
They can get their belongings out. They can get their children to a safe place. They can establish a safety plan. We don't have that right now in most cases.
Yeah.
We don't have those 4 or 5 hours where we can get the survivor to a safe place. So I just want to thank both of these folks for working hard for us in Albany. And I know it's a struggle, but they get it. So.
And as the sheriff stated, there was legislation expanded for judicial discretion for domestic violence, but it's still without that collaboration of the network.
Yeah,
We also have, to Brian's point, with housing, supportive housing that we've been working on with the mayor of Utica, so that there will be the support that the individuals need is. It's too important.
Yeah.
To your point, everything is correlated, and if we have a problem, just like with Judge Gerling's daughter, just horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
You know, you see these cases, and I'm sure you see it, Sheriff, far more prevalent than we do, far more often. But cases where you have the aggressor and the victim, and there is that possession where they basically dictate how that person, how their partner is what they can do, who they can talk to. It can get that bad. So when you take that person away, that is where. That's a critical time.
It is, and that's why, like I said, we're very fortunate. You know, at our agency, we have specifically trained people, in our domestic violence unit, so they can see exactly, what's happening, and they know how to react to what's happening. Because, like you said, even some of the survivors, and again, I'm trying to change. We want to refer to them as survivors, not victims.
Yeah.
So I've catched myself here constantly going back and forth because most of my career we referred to them as victims, but they're survivors.
Yep.
And that's critical. But you're right. I mean, we've got to have people involved who can see what's happening. So when there's a change, that's the time we got to make our move. And
how do you convince somebody to understand that going back, because that is part of the problem.
Very difficult.
Almost.
Well,
I don't want to say almost always, but often.
And I sit in on these high-risk assessment meetings, and I hear constantly where the victim is trying to withdraw charges. Because, again, in Kelly Owens from the Office of Prevention of Domestic Violence will be here in a little while, but that's where the survivor is so dependent on whether it be the offender's income, or they don't want to lose custody of their children, or they won't have a place to live.
Yeah.
So they're willing to put themselves back in harm's way just to try to save their family and to keep their kids safe. And that's really sad when that happens.
Kelly Owens has done a really good job just in a few interviews in completely correcting me. And
she's
the
fierce.
language,
I don't want to get on the wrong side of Kelly.
You do not. So. She'll take you out.
Yes.
And at the very least, set you straight.
She is a
she's
huge
great.
advocate for survivors of domestic violence. She fights like no one else I've ever seen when it comes to this topic. So.
And she's with New York State, but she's from here.
She's got ties here. Her career started here in Oneida County.
Yes. Yep. All right, guys. We appreciate it. And this is a really important topic. Worth dedicating the day.
And there's Kelly right
I see her
now.
coming
she walked in the door.
Yeah.
Kelly's coming in.
I'm ducking. I'm just kidding. We'll speak with her coming up in a few minutes. But obviously, the work that you guys can do in Albany is extremely important to support this. It just seems like the problem gets worse and worse, and it becomes so challenging to address it.
Well, I want to thank the sheriff and all law enforcement for their work.
Yes, it's a huge problem,
Yeah.
and you just got to remember, it's just not with partners. It could be with elderly. It could be with children. It's all the way around.
That's a good point. There
Elder
are
abuse, absolutely.
There are situations where, and sometimes it's elderly on elderly, and sometimes it's someone else taking advantage of the elderly.
Of a parent too, in many cases.
So it can very complex. Man.
Thanks for having us, Rob.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
You guys too. Keep up the
Assemblyman
good work.
Brian
Thank
Miller, Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshawn, and we're with Sheriff Maciol here in our makeshift booth studio, in our radio booth at the Boulevard Diner. We'll come right back. Hold tight at WIBX.
Whatever you need to haul, landscaping tools, heavy construction gear, or even livestock, Clinton Tractor has the trailer for the job. Choose steel, aluminum, or galvanized frames from 500 pounds to 55 tons with trusted names like B-Wise, Eager Beaver, and EB. For trailers, parts, and service you can count on, visit the Caledona family at Clinton Tractor.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
Imagine this. You're coming down the stairs. You miss a step, but you catch yourself. And that's when you feel it. It's your knee, and it really hurts. Now you have to make a choice. The faster you see an orthopedic specialist, the sooner you'll be on your way to recovery. Choose Community Memorial Center for Orthopedics, now with a clinic open every Wednesday in New Hartford. You'll get fast access to world-class orthopedic care. We have imaging on site, and you'll be treated by Dr. Rochelle Takamoto. She's one of the most respected orthopedists in the area, and she's done more VELYS robotic-assisted surgeries than any female physician in the world. So whether it's a new injury or a long-term pain in any joint, walk into our clinic and get treated by one of the best orthopedic specialists in the area in the shortest time possible. That's Community Memorial Center for Orthopedics, with clinics weekdays in Hamilton and now every Wednesday at 83 Genesee Street in New Hartford. Visit orthoemergency.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Are your windows old and tired? Hard to put up and down? Builder's grade windows just aren't made to last very long. Patriot Home Solutions is a different kind of window company. No games or gimmicks, no long drawn-out sales presentations, just high-quality, custom-fit windows at reasonable prices made right here in New York.
And right now, you can get up to $2,000 off new windows from Patriot and NYSERDA.
Plus, 0% interest for 18 months.
Most homeowners qualify for the savings.
And income is not one of the requirements. So write this number down, 315-401-0440. That's 401-0440. Patriot Home Solutions will tell you right over the phone if you qualify.
Don't miss your chance to save up to $2,000 on new windows.
Funds are limited, so call before they run out. Learn more at callpatriothomesolutions.com. That's callpatriothomesolutions.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CLEAN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CLEAN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Celebrating 100 years. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, good morning. We're back here at the Boulevard Diner, which opens every day at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And but we get them to open at like 5.
They came here early for us today, and like I said, Rich has always been a super friend and a huge supporter of law enforcement. So
Yeah.
we can't thank the folks here enough at Boulevard Diner.
And you know he's one of the lucky ones. He has his sons.
He does, but you know what? Because been coming here for a long time, and businesses. This is a very successful business, and it's because he's in the kitchen every day.
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
guy is here before anybody else, and that's what makes it. He's, again, just a great person in the community, and we're very fortunate to have him here.
Yeah, completely agree. And with us right now is Oneida County DA Todd Carville. DA, good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
You know I can never talk to you without saying anything new on the Conley case.
No updates at this time.
No updates. All right. I'm sure you get asked that often.
I do.
I just thought I'd add to it. But, we were talking about how domestic violence, the reason for this program today is domestic violence. And we've talked about how many cases there have been here locally that have resulted in fatalities, and it all is stemming from domestic violence. A lot of them.
Yes, yeah, that is true. We have over in 2023 we had over 1,700 victims of domestic violence in Oneida County. The sheriff has started a DVHRT team that looks at high risk lethality within domestic relationships, and our office is involved in that process, and we actually have a new grant coming out that we received. We're one of 20 counties throughout New York State that received the Strive grant, and we're going to implement some of those lethality risk assessments that DVHRT team does in that Strive.
How do we I feel like these many times there's how when you're growing up you what you're surrounded with is usually what you see as the norm,
right?
And how do you break that? And the other part is that you have oftentimes you have a male or female, whatever the relationship is, who they have this they have a belief on the way things are supposed to be. Years ago, things were much different. Our grandparents, the man ran the household, right. and it's not that way today. And oftentimes, I think that misinterpretation of the way things should be starts at a very, very young age. How do we deal with that? Do we talk to kids in schools?
Well, I think, like we talked before, you have to break that pattern.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And again, before we get into it too deep, the district attorney's office is a key partner here, and I want to thank the district attorney for his work and his staff's work. I mean, every day they're working together with all these law enforcement agencies in the entire county. And again, like I said, our goal is to keep the survivors safe and to hold the offenders accountable. So they're a critical partner here. But to your point, we have to also think outside the box, and we do a lot of that together. I mean, it's outreach, whether it's getting into the schools at an early age. Again, breaking that stigma. I know that's something that's real important. And I know we talked about that earlier.
That's definitely going to be something Kelly can talk about because she's very big on that.
But like I said, the DA's office they do an amazing job here, and again, I just want to say thank you for the work that you guys do.
Thank you, Sheriff. And yes, so that's one of the things that we're going to do with the Strive grant is a multidisciplinary approach. Utilizing the YWCA and their advocates as well as community partners to try to get the word out and actually sometimes receive a word about domestic instances.
We talk oftentimes that mental health plays a big role. We talked about that all morning long. And you see it, and there's a legal differential here when it comes to mental health. Mental health and able to stand trial and those who are not.
Correct.
And I know there was a big case here that involved domestic violence here locally.
Yes. I think I heard you talking about Amanda Maciol as well, and Marissa Vomer. They are going to be part of that Strive coordination to bring them their abilities to the table as well.
Okay. It's a massive topic. Affects
it is.
All of us in so many different ways. And the other part that I guess we see more in the family courts and maybe we don't think about as much is the surroundings. We've talked about that a little bit. How children are brought up and the environment that they're brought up in, that becomes the norm.
Correct.
And we end up creating a cycle.
It's very challenging, and like I said, we definitely break that cycle, and I know just one more thing I want to mention that the DA's office does it's critical for the survivors. They have staff there who can navigate the survivors through the process. Because whether it's, prepping them for testimonies and just explaining to them how this is going to unfold. Because most people, this is something they've never dealt with in their life, and finally when we get to the point where we can charge someone, then they take over and they do an awesome job, like I said, of guiding those survivors through the process and getting them, the assistance they need once that we're done with our end of it.
Yeah, we have 3 victim witness coordinators in our office that any case that has a victim, we get them the services that they need through the process.
And at the end of the day, it's tricky in your job. It's yours as well. But the change in laws and the reform and all of this, it's completely disclosure. It's completely changed the way a DA's office does the job.
We've certainly had to adapt with respect to the changing laws, yes.
That might be an understatement.
Yes.
A bit of an understatement. All right, District Attorney Todd Carville, we really appreciate your time here. We'll do a quick break, and we'll get into more of this another hour. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the month of October, and we're coming back to Boulevard Diner.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, celebrating 100 years.
Hamas is on the clock. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News' 72-hour window to release the remaining hostages opened earlier this morning when the Israeli troops completed their pullback to a predetermined line in Gaza. 20 of the 48 hostages Hamas still holds are believed to be alive, including Omri Moran. His brother-in-law Moshe tells Fox.
We're so grateful that the president, the peace president, has achieved what people thought was impossible.
And President Trump plans a trip to Israel in the next few days. Some Trump supporters have been clamoring for the president to win the Nobel Peace Prize for brokering that Gaza deal. And yesterday he said
they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country.
Well, President Obama did win in the first year of his first term, but this morning the prize went to someone else, not Trump. The White House communications director just posted on X, the Nobel Committee has proved they play politics over peace. So who won? Maria Corina Machado, a Venezuelan opposition activist living in hiding. She told Fox last month,
there are more than 800 political prisoners that are under the horrible conditions, inhumane conditions. They have been tortured. They have been hurt. Everybody that raises their voice here in Venezuela is threatened.
President Trump's National Guard deployment to suburban Chicago blocked by a federal judge days after a similar ruling in Portland, Oregon, where he also wants troops to protect immigration agents after anti-ICE protests.
Judge April M. Perry says deploying troops anywhere in the state would, quote, only add fuel to the fire. The temporary restraining order comes after some local and state officials sued the Trump administration over the troops' deployment. They called it a, quote, unconstitutional invasion.
Fox's Christina Coleman. New York Attorney General Letitia James has been indicted, charged with mortgage fraud. The Democrats' reaction?
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system.
Last year, James won a civil fraud case against then-candidate Trump, but the massive fine as punishment was overturned on appeal. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the costs of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
It is day 10 of the government shutdown. And hundreds of thousands of federal employees can't go back to work till at least Tuesday, when the Senate will return and maybe vote again as the fight over funding continues.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries once again is calling on Republicans to negotiate a deal to end the shutdown.
Things are not going to change until Republicans actually decide to get serious about a bipartisan negotiation.
This as the Senate once again fails to pass a stopgap measure to reopen the government, with Democrats saying they want a permanent extension of the Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Republicans say that conversation can happen when the government reopens.
The consequences of this Democrat shutdown are very real.
The tax credits are set to expire at the end of the year. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising the day after the Dow dropped more than 200 points and the NASDAQ fell from its record high. The Phillies are out in baseball's playoffs.
Pajes breaks his bat. Kirkering got to find it. Throws to the plate. Oh, my goodness. He throws it away. And the Dodgers have won.
That error in the bottom of the 11th inning ended the game and the season for Philadelphia. The Los Angeles Dodgers won 2-1 on TBS to advance to the National League Championship Series. The defending World Series champs will play either the Cubs or Brewers. Chicago forced the final game of that series tomorrow with a 6-0 shutout. In the NFL,
the Giants dominated the Eagles 34-17 on Thursday Night Football, as Philadelphia is now on its first losing streak since 2023. Rookie Jackson Dart finished the night with 195 yards passing and a touchdown, while adding a score on the ground.
Dart, he can run. Can he ever? He can run all the way to the end zone. Touchdown.
That was courtesy of Amazon Prime Video. For the Eagles, quarterback Jalen Hurts threw a back-breaking fourth-quarter interception, and Philadelphia dropped to 4-2 with their second straight loss.
That's Joe Morgan. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Here's the latest from the WIBX newsroom. I'm Doug Callan. Jurors are expected to hear more testimony today in the murder trial of 3 former corrections officers. Yesterday, the court heard from an inmate and nurse practitioner at Marcy Correctional Facility. Both individuals were at the prison when inmate Robert Brooks was allegedly severely beaten by Matthew Gallagher, Nicholas Keefer, and David Kingsley in December of 2024 before Brooks passed away at a nearby hospital in Utica. The trial is likely going to take multiple weeks to complete. New information is being released about an incident in Pulaski that triggered a shelter-in-place alert. Authorities say 58-year-old Mark Van Warmer was involved in a domestic dispute with his son on Wednesday and is accused of choking the victim before pointing a gun at him. Van Warmer left the scene and residents received an alert about an armed man in the community. He was later taken into custody and will face charges. A New Hartford man was arrested on charges that he engaged in sexually explicit text messages with a minor. The United County Sheriff's Office says they arrested 40-year-old Chad Biamonte of the town of New Hartford. He was arrested Thursday and has been charged with endangering the welfare of a child. A fire in Salisbury destroyed a home, but the 2 people inside were able to get out safely. Fire officials say the family was relying on solar to power the home, which sent energy to a panel of lithium-ion batteries. It's believed one of the batteries exploded, causing the intense fire. Officials from Chobani announced updated plans for their 1.4 million square feet food processing plant at Griffiths in Rome in front of the Rome Planning Board on Tuesday. Construction is expected to begin this winter and will conclude next fall. The plant should be up and running for the start of 2027, according to a story in the Daily Sentinel. The 200-year celebration of the Erie Canal continues today and tomorrow. The Seneca Chief is a replica of the first boat to travel the canal from Buffalo to New York City 200 years ago. The first stretch of the canal opened in Rome, traveling to the lock in Utica. Today's celebration continues at Herkimer, Gems Along the Mohawk, and Waterfront Grill. The events scheduled tomorrow will be at Benton's Landing in Little Falls. And Angela Vanderhoof, who spent years as a history teacher and then spent decades as the head of the ARC Oneida Lewis chapter, has passed away. Family members say she died last Thursday peacefully at her home. She was 90 years old. In sports, the big upset. The Giants pulled off a major upset after shocking the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17 last night on Thursday Night Football from MetLife Stadium. Rookies Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo combined to 5 touchdowns. New York is now 2-4 and will visit the Denver Broncos next week in Week 7. This weekend, the 0-5 Jets play the Denver Broncos in London on Sunday morning. The Bills play in Atlanta at 7:15 p.m. on Monday Night Football. The Rangers collected their first win of the season after shutting out the Sabres 4-0 in Buffalo. New York has 2 points and will visit the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow night. The Islanders came up short in their season opener after falling to the Penguins 4-3 in Pittsburgh. New York will bounce back, or they hope to, when it hosts Washington in its home opener tomorrow night. And the New Jersey Devils dropped their first game of the season after falling to the Hurricanes 6-3 in Raleigh. New Jersey hopes to bounce back when it visits Tampa Bay tomorrow night. Major League Baseball playoffs, the Cubs beat the Brewers 6-0, tying that series at 2. The Dodgers clinched the division series by beating the Phillies 2-1. College football, following a difficult couple of weeks, Syracuse at 3-3 will host Pittsburgh. The game is set for 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. Utica University, following a tough loss to ranked Cortland last week, will host Morrisville State Saturday at noon. Hamilton College hosting Trinity on Saturday at 1 in Clinton. Colgate football hosting Richmond on Saturday at 1 in Hamilton. Hardwick will be at home in Oneonta on Saturday, hosting St. John Fisher University at 1 p.m. And the Utica Comets open tonight at home. The Comets host Cleveland at 7 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center, and then again tomorrow at the Odd, 3 p.m. matinee. Tickets are available at uticacomets.com or at the box office. That's the latest. I'm Doug Callan for WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Cold morning, freeze warnings will go away. Temperatures even dipping into the upper teens in the northern Adirondacks. Sunshine today, 63. Tonight, mainly clear, 40. So not quite as cold. North Country will be a little chillier. Might see a little rain get thrown in here tomorrow afternoon. Nothing widespread, 68. Maybe a little rain on Sunday, 65, and a chance of rain on Monday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Hi, I'm Phil DiGiorgio. Planning for the future isn't always easy, but protecting what you've worked so hard for is important. The DiGiorgio Law Firm invites you to a free estate planning and asset protection workshop to be held on October 14th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the DiGiorgio Law Firm offices at 250 Genesee Street, Utica, New York. Seats are limited, so call 315-732-3155 to reserve your spot. At this free workshop, you'll learn how to use trusts to preserve your home and assets from the high costs of long-term care, how to safeguard inheritances for loved ones receiving public benefits, and discover techniques to help you access Medicaid benefits for home care or nursing home costs without spending your assets down to zero. Take control of your legacy. You can't take it with you, but you can decide where it goes. Call the DiGiorgio Law Firm today at 315-732-3155 to RSVP for the workshop or to schedule your own consultation. Again, that's 315-732-3155. The DiGiorgio Law Firm. Start protecting your hard-earned assets now.
Upgrade your comfort this winter. Add Smart Heat Pump heating and cooling to your home. Call City Suburban today, 315-853-3899, or go online to citysuburban.com. That's citysuburban.com.
Guys, have you seen the comments lately?
Yeah, we heard the chatter. The magic's run out. But I just think those people might need a reminder that Utica is richly steeped in hockey history and home to some of the most passionate fans in the world, and that the players are as gritty as the city they represent. Season starts October 10th. Get your season opener tickets at uticacomets.com. This is Utica.
He digs, he turns, he dives! It is a touchdown! It is a touchdown!
The NFL is on Westwood One.
Uncorks a deep ball, downfield, into the end zone, a crowd is there, and it is caught! Touchdown! Miraculous!
The NFL plays here all season long on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. This is Keeler in the morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Back here at Boulevard Diner. It's First News Keeler in the morning. Let me tell you a couple quickies here, and then we'll move on with the sheriff and our guests here in studio. And I know we have a few other things to get to. Also, we'll get an update on Oneida City School District on how they're moving forward on their really all of the work that has to be done after the damage that was done from the flood over the summer. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills, Dr. Zielinski and Dr. Shemileski, they will be accepting new patients. Right now, they're on a pause. They had so many new patients, they're looking for a new provider, interviewing new doctors, and as soon as that is complete, they will begin accepting new patients. It is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. It's the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. And if you're having pain, knee pain, hip pain, back pain, or you are a pain, we're talking about the Good Feet store. They can't help
Scott's
you.
ready.
And you may be really surprised that the pain that you may be having could very well be coming from your feet and the way you walk and your arch. There's a free, no-obligation, personalized fitting and test walk. No appointment is needed. You can walk right in. And the Good Feet store is now located on Commercial Drive in New Hartford. Call 315-999-3910. Let me go to Scott in Kirkville just quickly. I want to take care of him and because nobody makes Scott wait. Scott, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I don't mind. Hey, I love listening to you guys on hold. It brings a breath of fresh air to a cold, crispy morning.
It is a cold, crispy morning. So, listen, crisp morning anyway. I just want to get a couple of picks from you quickly because we're in the middle of a broadcast out on the road here, but I didn't want to miss you. How about that game last night? The Giants upsetting the Eagles. The Eagles lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the way that it's almost had a feeling that that was going to happen. Yeah, it's funny when the Eagles are winning, they're 4-1. But if you will kind of watch them, kind of remind me of the Bills. Have been very lethargic. That's the key word. Their offense. They should not have beaten the Rams. They had, remember the Rams game? They had a 27-7 lead. Gave up a 14-point lead to Minnesota. So they can't. The offense hasn't clicked. I mean, they've been complaining about that, and as we all kind of knew, Barkley was not going to have the same year as last year. That was the magical year. Yeah. And the push-me-pull you was even sort of working last night. So it was interesting. But we'll see what this rookie quarterback, it's, he was like, it kind of reminded me of a rookie college quarterback. I mean, his feet was as important as his arm.
He reminds me a little of a little Josh Allen, I got to say. Okay, as I said, we got to be quick, so I want to do quick picks. Give somebody something they can win with, and we'll do this again next week and take a little more time.
You got it. Okay. First, we want to do Michigan State, Kathy. We always like to do Michigan State. Playing UCLA, 12 noon game. West Coast coming east. They're an 8-point favorite. They should win, or at least win. The cover part might be interesting, but Michigan State, Kathy, if they can't beat UCLA, which just upset Penn State. But these 12 noon games, East Coast, West Coast to East Coast, I always like betting against the West Coast, especially if you can bet in-game and just see the body language. Tonight, South Florida's playing North Texas State, I believe. The team total is about 32. Take the over in that. Tomorrow, New Mexico's playing Boise. They're only going to have to score 20.5 points against Boise. I'd take the over in New Mexico. Utah is only 27. They were playing Arizona State, their team total. I would take the over in the Utah. They've been on a roll, especially at home. And then in the pros, my Dolphins, right now it's below 20 points. I think at home, once again, West Coast Chargers coming East Coast. If they can't score 20 on the Chargers, then they should fire the coach. And Detroit's 26-25 against Kansas City. Take the over on that one.
All right, good stuff, Scott. I predict the Jets will now lose another game and continue winless to the very amazing Denver Broncos. So,
they're
that's early
amazing.
Sunday morning.
Yeah. Did you have to get up on that one?
You got to get up on that one. All right, Scott. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Enjoy the weekend. Make some money
Bye.
out there. All right.
Yep.
Scott in Kirkville. Sheriff Maciol, today we're focusing on Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are in a really awesome place, Boulevard Diner.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
We just got a text message, by the way, from Father Sean O'Brien, the chaplain at the sheriff's office, and obviously a longtime friend of yours.
We went to college, yeah.
He said you guys are doing a great job on the radio today, so just wanted to say hello.
Good man, Father Sean. He'll be on the radio soon. We'll have him in. Also in here, is Kelly Owens. I got to look up the title because it's a good one. She is with the New York State Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence. She is the director, Kelly Owens. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill Keeler. You went to college?
I did.
Okay.
It doesn't show, does it? I was one of those students.
Got it.
I spent all my time in college working for a radio station down the road. I went on a 2-year college, 10-year plan. It was. I learned a lot. I did. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we were talking about one thing I just want to start with is how families. The world has changed. When I grew up, Dad worked, Mom did the house things. When Dad got home, that was the end of his day, and the world has changed. And I do think that depending on the environment that you grow up in, kids, when they become adults, it's the environment that they're around. Now, that may, if they're around an environment with domestic violence, that's the norm. But also, there's a change in the world. Things aren't the way they used to be. How important is it to develop good habits and learn properly, I guess, as young men and women? I think it plays a role.
I agree. I also think, not only has our family structures changed, some of it for the good.
Right.
I am amazed. The people who work for me now, the way their husbands chip in. No offense to my ex-husband, but the way I wonder if he's listening.
That's very true.
Yeah. I'm seeing dads in grocery stores and doing all those things. So all that's great.
Yeah.
But the dynamics have changed, and I think even how society is viewing things, we took great steps in domestic violence and making sure that people were taking it seriously. Recent statements by the most powerful man in this country have shown that maybe we're not where we thought we were. There's some troubling stuff that's coming out around domestic violence, and it does it rise to a level of a crime, and who should be concerned about it when we spent so many years, the sheriff's been doing this work a long time, I've been doing this work a long time, we're getting people to take domestic violence seriously and not just physical violence seriously.
Well, so you're going there. That's going to get me some complaints today. So, but let me ask you, do you feel that because of the current state of politics that we're moving in the other direction? We're taking a step backwards.
I think that the level of discourse among lots of things, and it's not just. I'm not just talking one side or the other here.
I think
I've been on both sides of the political aisle.
You have. Actually, whenever we were working together, you were working for Republicans. So,
I'm just for good government. Bill.
But the truth is that it's the arguing and the fighting and the
level of disrespect
and
name calling,
and this is both sides.
The dehumanization of people is when you start there as a society, your home life, that reflects in your home life and how you treat one another in your personal relationships. I think we are at a different point in this country about how we handle those things and what we look at, which makes this, what we're talking about, and the sheriff's work here, and the YW's work here, so important.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. We see, and it reaches beyond that too. The level of disrespect that law enforcement deals with today. That's something we've never dealt with before. But at the end of the day, like I said, we have to keep our focus. And Kelly is a fierce fighter for survivors of domestic violence, and we have to keep our focus on. That's what we're here to do, to protect these survivors and to hold the offenders accountable. So we have to continuously navigate through these challenges, but we've got the right people at the table here, like I've been saying all morning.
The sheriff just maneuvered us away from politics. I don't know if you saw him do that. I thought that was very good.
Very crafty.
Slick, very slick. The fact is that, we've had so many cases here where when you terrible fatalities, murders, and when you look back on them, it's either mental health or a combination of mental health and domestic violence, but almost always they're involved.
So our high-risk assessment team here in Oneida County that I talked about earlier this morning, that was formed as a result of a tragedy in our area, and that family came forth, and they wanted to make sure that that never happened again. Unfortunately, it has happened, but my point is they want to make sure that everyone's coming to the table, because this is a multidisciplinary approach. It's not just law enforcement. It's not just the service provider. It's not just the prosecutor. It's not just the Office of Mental Health. It's everybody at the table. The community entire community has a stake in this, so it's bringing everybody to the table. We're expanding this even further into threat assessments that we're doing in our communities now. We have a threat assessment team. That, if you ask me what's a TAM, a threat assessment management team, if you asked me that when I came on this job, you're talking another language. But we have to do business differently because the old way doesn't work. We know that.
Yeah, and we are using Oneida County's model as a model across the state to bring high-risk teams together to do coordinated community response. I will say Oneida County has always taken this issue seriously. I was at the County of Oneida when we first had one of the first domestic violence courts. It's always been, unfortunately, it's also been a place of which there is high domestic violence. But that's also a blessing and a curse, right? That means people are reporting and asking for help.
Right.
I will say that, as we think about and we learn more about domestic violence, things like high-risk teams and coordinated community response that are evidence-based, it shows it works and it reduces domestic violence homicide across the board when you do it right. But it remains, people have to remain committed to that because it's not easy, because you have an advocate in the room, you have the DA in the room, and you have law enforcement in the room, all of them doing their jobs really well, but finding how you stay together when it gets tough and you stay at the table, that's what makes it work.
I almost feel like the education part is just the most important part, and early, just because once you get to, once the sheriff department's involved, now we're...
Not that it's too late, but we got to a point where probably didn't have to get to that point. If because I say it all the time, people are seeing this stuff happening. Friends are seeing it, family, coworkers. People have an obligation. They have to. They have to do something. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be the law enforcement route. It can just be the Y route. And that's what our investigator talked about this morning. You don't have to have the person arrested in all cases. There's so many more things we can do early on before it gets to that. But we got to get people to the table, and that's.
And that goes, by the way, I know it's somewhat unrelated, but trafficking as well. When you see something, I mean, I think we're also worried about. So you see something that's domestic violence, or you see something that looks like it might be trafficking. We're afraid to. You don't want to look stupid. So you're afraid to report anything because it's probably not anything. I'm going to look like an idiot if I report it. Be the idiot.
Be the idiot.
Be a little embarrassed because it's that one time that maybe you were right.
Yeah.
That could change the life.
Usually, if there's a feeling in your gut that something's not right, it's usually not right.
Yeah.
I do want to play off, what the sheriff said. the forms of abuse are also changing, and technology facilitated abuse, which is a whole range of stuff, is playing out in about 97% of domestic violence cases now.
So that is one person has the passwords, one person has all the passwords.
One person has all the passwords. They're tracking you on your phone. They're tracking you. They put a tracker on your car. It could be anything from, we've had people actually take over somebody's social media accounts and post things. It's deep fakes. It's sextortion, meaning you sent me a picture, and now I'm using it against you. It is rampant, and it is rampant in young people, young relationships. We're seeing it as early as 12 and 13 years old. It playing out, and
we're seeing cases around here involving adults and kids in that area.
It's something that we all in this work need to really figure out how we're going to deal with it, because it's not something that we have dealt with before.
Just for the record, we have I track my wife, she tracks me. We have Life 360.
It's consent. You both have consent.
We have consent. Our kids are on it. It's one of those things where, but you know what? When you do that, you make
and I don't blame your wife at all.
That's right. Because listen, I could be gone at any second. At any second, you'll never find me again. But I think that when you do it in that way, you have no one's spying on anybody.
No,
nobody's
it's
looking at.
It's
one of those things when somebody doesn't show up and they're supposed to. You look and you're like, okay, now I can see, just in case, God forbid, something.
And if
happens.
your wife said to you, Bill, I don't want you to track me anymore,
well,
you would say, that's fine.
There's only, and I the same way. Like, if I'm anywhere near the casino, I always shut my phone off. She has an alarm when I get near the casino; it goes off.
Well,
and I get a phone call.
Yeah, and you consent to all of it. So
I do. I wouldn't have any choice, to be honest, but I do. But we joke. The reality is, there's the technology is so good. It is so bad.
And somebody who wants to power and control over somebody will use any tools necessary to do that. And now it's a very easy tool to use.
Yeah, and there's so many. It is, and there's so many cases where you hear that it has been done, and people have kind of gotten away with it, and it's just become the norm, and it never really did get reported until, I mean, it's hard to track.
And it's hard to identify, right?
That's
it's hard to identify.
How do you know there's something on your phone?
Yeah.
And you leave it around, it's sitting there. It's easy for somebody to just put something that is hidden inside the phone. The user would not even know that it's there.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of work now with schools and with youth organizations, law enforcement, parents, really trying to figure out how do we get people more knowledgeable about it, because it is so rampant. And for kids,
that's the scary part.
Well, in the action that kids take when they're scared about what has happened online is drastic. And we gotta, we can't just tell kids put your phone down, because that's not going to work. So we have to figure out if something happens to a kid online, how are we properly responding to that so that they feel supported?
And to think this ban on cell phones, bell-to-bell ban, is going to eliminate this. Think again.
It delays it.
It delays it.
And it gives
till the end of the day. Utica was reporting yesterday that at the minute school's out, there's a huge influx in issues and arguments and fights that are all because they waited all day long and they get their messages out or they read their messages.
Well, right, that goes to the education piece of this and how we're handling it. I do think that break in the school day lets kids' minds relax for a little while.
They're being trained to go back to reality, and maybe that is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And to how to interact interpersonally. We've lost so much of the
how do we solve that though at home, right? I mean, we always made it a point where we sit down and you have a meal at the table, and because that's how we grew up.
Exactly. Every day.
Everybody's so fast. There's so much going on. It's very hard to do that today. And then sitting at the table with the cell phone. It does start at home. I mean, government can't do everything.
Nope.
And that makes it very difficult.
No, but I do think it's about the education of what I let my kids have cell phones very, very early.
Yeah, we did too. For the most part.
Because it was convenient for me,
right?
And I didn't put limits on it. And I think those are the things that we have to teach parents and kids. It's about how to be safe, because that's not going away, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't go away. It's technology, but how do we be safe with it is really important.
I do have to say, we thought we were doing the right thing, and we made sure we had passwords. So then our kids didn't get cell phones until they were 13, 14, 15 years old. So we had the passwords, but I never checked. I thought knowing that I had the password would be enough to scare them, until I had one incident with my son, and then I checked it, and I'm like, I should have been checking. It was nothing terrible. We dealt with it, but it takes work. It really does take work from the parent side.
Yes.
And that's not easy today because everybody's extremely busy.
And they're so much better at it than we are.
They are, yeah. Which is why when you want something done with your phone, what do? You give it to your kid and say, "Can you fix this? I can't get this done." So, boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think those are the things that, if we're talking about how do we prevent some of this stuff, that's one of the places that we've got to be innovative and we got to start talking about.
All right. Kelly Owens, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know
Bill.
you always have an open door, so whenever you want something on, we're here.
You know I call when I need something.
You do.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Kelly,
and
for coming.
I'm
thank
not
you.
Great partner to work with.
Really afraid of you, but
thank you. I'm glad you're not really afraid of me.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Good stuff today. Stand by. I do want to switch now. I know we have the Matt Carpenter as the superintendent of schools at Oneida City School District, and I want to bring him in because they have been working their tails off in an attempt to get their school back up and running. Superintendent Matt Carpenter, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again. And I got to say that last segment you had on cell phones in schools really, rings home for us here in the district and all districts across. So that was a great segment.
I'm afraid we have mixed an amazing technology with hormones, and that can be very, very difficult. So we're learning, and this is all new territory, right, for most of us.
I agree, and you guys mentioned the bell-to-bell ban. I think the biggest thing there is that you say you're afraid that we mixed, an amazing technology with what's going on today. But the problem is we're 25 years too late to change this because, you mentioned in the last segment about this starts at home. My kids are now in their mid and upper 20s, and they had cell phones at the middle school age. But they went on a charging dock. They weren't in their bedrooms. They weren't at the dinner table because that was what we demanded as parents at home. And that's our whole culture has changed some there. There's no blame on parents. It's just the way it is.
But Matt, going back to that, it's like anything else. It's like any discipline or any rules. That all takes work, and it's not easy. But it's extremely important for kids. I mean, imagine they take that phone up into their bedroom and shut the door. They are now, the world is accessible. And if you think you're going to go check their history, good luck with that because they've already erased it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is no history. Yeah.
Yep.
So again, they're smarter than we are most likely when it comes to all of this stuff. All right, just a progress report on a very difficult challenge that you guys have out there in Oneida.
Sure. Kind of let's go. I kind of had it in mind to attack this in two ways. First, we're about 5 weeks into school, and the split day out at the middle school is working as best as it can be in a difficult situation. Our kids are attending, and our kids are getting what they need. Our staff are making themselves available online on the off hours with both synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Kids are engaged in sports. Kids have all their elective classes and all their offerings, albeit on a shortened schedule. I will say though that our not only our kids but our staff are tired. Those 26-minute classes go by quickly, and people feel like they're kind of in the hamster wheel, I think. So but our staff from top to bottom in this district have just been wonderful, accommodating the kids and flexible with each other and really, working with the community. So a big shout out to our staff here in Oneida City School District.
Well, it's important that you have that that buy-in from the staff today, because these students that are dealing with this in Oneida, it wasn't too long ago they were dealing with masks, or they were dealing with remote learning. This group of kids has been through a lot to begin with. So having those teachers taking that extra step and making the best out of the situation, I'm assuming, is extremely important.
It is. And, our kids are resilient. All of our kids from, grade 12 down to, grade 3 or so have working memory of what it was like to either wear masks at school or to be on virtual instruction or not to be around their friends or keeping 6-foot distance. So they all have memory of that. And this is not a huge stretch. No, you tie it in with this is the first year of a real bell-to-bell cell phone ban, and there's some hurdles we're getting through, but
there's a lot.
So,
and then in terms of, so that's part one, and I'm assuming you want to go to the second part.
Yeah, so the second part, so the high school is plugging along. We've had a tremendous amount of outside site work. We are carving up the parking lots. That's really starting here in the last week or so and ramping up today. New electrical service is being routed into the building, so we're working closely with National Grid. We dredged out and cleared out the drainage ditch that runs behind the school, between the school and a set of apartments and business on the south side of the building, and that's clear now and allowing for smooth water flow. But then the big outside project is the rerouting of our storm drains and catch basins and parking lots around the front side of the building to the north, so that that if there ever is a backup of water, it won't affect the building. So that's all the outside work, things that are going on. Now on the inside, since we talked last, the 10 to 12 classrooms on the first floor that had their floors wrecked and demoed, those floors are all fixed. They're all installed, brand new, looking good. We're repainting those classrooms just because we had everything empty and not because of any damage. But that's going on right now. And then with regards to all the infrastructure, we've got the elevator crew on company working on modifying and updating the elevator. All of our electrical gear has been ordered. It's coming in. And then all of the other things, electrical panel, water heaters, pumps, heating controls, boiler parts, all of those as they're coming in are being installed and put together. So there's just a lot of moving parts right now, and we're making good progress.
We're speaking with the superintendent of schools at Oneida, Matt Carpenter. I know we've talked, and you've basically said the plan is that these students are going to be in this situation most likely for the year. However, you haven't ruled out the chance that this could end earlier. Do you have any more insight?
No, it's just the way you laid it out. Is we had to operate as if this could be the year because of lead times on the important electrical equipment, right? And if you think about it, this morning was 31 or 32 degrees. We don't have heat in the building yet, right?
Yeah.
The boilers aren't up and running, right? If we did have heat, we don't have controls, so the heat would be on full blast if it was 80 degrees this afternoon. So there's lots of things that we don't consider when we're thinking about that. But the other thing that I've been saying in any of either my interviews or talking with community members is, if there's an opportunity for us to get back into that building sooner, we're going to take that opportunity. We're going to look at what it means for scheduling and what it means for transportation and what it means for, food service and everything else. We've got to be smart about that. But we want to get back into that building so we can give kids their full day and back to normal. We don't have a date yet. We're still operating as if it could be the full year.
All right. Well, listen, you guys seem to have this under control, a bad situation. I mean, you remember the course you took on what would happen if your school wasn't available when you were coming up?
It's funny. The one thing I'd like to close with there is that there was an interim superintendent here before I got here who was a big help to me. She was a superintendent in the area for lots of years, and when I was a brand new superintendent, she kind of mentored me and left me lots of different binders. And she and I were talking just a week or two ago, and I said, I didn't find the binder on what to do when your school is destroyed with a natural disaster. You didn't leave me that one. And she told me there isn't one. So
there isn't one. Well, guess who can write it? Just in case when this is all said and done, you'll be able to write that. So thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, we appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon, Matt. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great day. Quick break. We'll come back and really wrap it up here at Boulevard Diner with the sheriff.
2 more guests to go.
2 more to go, and some good ones. We have Diane Stancato, who's the executive director of the Y, and talk about Strive. And UPD Chief Mark Williams also in here this morning. And the cooperation that you guys have with the Sheriff's Department and the Utica Police Department, very important. We'll come back at WIBX.
Utica and the Mohawk Valley Mattress Express's big annual free adjustable base promotion is back. Here's how it works. Come into Mattress Express, you'll get the largest selection of mattresses in New York State. Pick out any king or queen set in the store except Tempur-Pedic, and you'll get upgraded to an adjustable base for free. No extra charge. It's a great deal, folks. Now, you're probably wondering, does that include the Smart Bed by Instinct Comfort? Yes, it does. That's the bed you can make soft or firm on each side. 45 individual settings on each side from super soft to super firm. The flex set option in king or queen, reversible cover, cool for summer, warm for winter, and a 25-year industry-leading warranty. 5 years, no interest, no money down, and no credit check payment plans. In New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. In Oneida in the movie theater Glenwood Plaza. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS or stop in today.
Ew, Dad, why are toenails so ugly and yellow?
If you're like me and suffer from toenail fungus, please pay close attention. Let's face it, toe fungus is embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off and hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody. But nail fungus isn't just a cosmetic problem, it can also be dangerous. Even a small spot can spread and get worse. But no matter what I tried, it seemed like my fungus would never go away. Then I discovered Crystal Flush, the new and different FDA-registered at-home treatment. This unique two-step system flushes out fungus at its source and reverses damaged nails. Finally, me and thousands of others are free from fungus. And you can be too.
Crystal Flush is not available in stores, but you can try it risk-free for 60 days. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Show off your toes with confidence. Go to crystalflush.com now. CRYSTAL flush.com.
Hey everyone, it's Lisa from Fit Body Boot Camp in Whitesboro and Clinton. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're turning sweat into support with our Burpees for Boobies Challenge. Here's how it works. All month long, you pay $1 to nominate someone to do a burpee, and every dollar goes directly to breast cancer research. It's a fun way to get involved, call out your friends, and raise money for an incredible cause. And if you're new to Fit Body, don't forget, we're also offering 3 free sessions to help you get started. So stop in, join the fun, and let's make every burpee count together.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap GoodRx, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
And he no longer likes milkshakes. I don't know why. Good morning. We're back here with Sheriff Maciol. It's Coffee with a Cop. And, Sheriff, this has been really a very atypical of our program, but a very, I think, a very informative and program, but also something where I hope that it's had people stop and just think for a second.
Just some of the feedback I've been getting, it's very positive. Just over the past few minutes, that we took a subject as important as this and you dedicated your entire show to it. So first off, thank you for that. But also, again, like we said, that we know there's people out in the community that right now are survivors and or victims of something. and it's just not physical abuse, but this may be the spark that's going to get someone that knows them to make that call, whether it's to law enforcement or to the Y, because we're all on the same team here. And these two folks are here that we're ending with, awesome partners.
Yep.
Incredible partners. The dedication they have to domestic violence, second to none, and we'll give them the last 10 minutes or so of the show.
Diane is with the executive director of the YWCA of the Mohawk Valley. And Diane, I would ask you, if there's somebody listening right now, and they know someone who is going through an issue, and they've tried and failed, what advice can you give to them?
Well, we see this all the time, where loved ones, family members, friends, they're frantic because they see something happening with their friend, their daughter, whoever, and they can't seem to get through to them, right?
Yeah.
So they call, and they should call us because we can give them some tools to maybe help them speak to their loved one, but we've got, get that person to call us, because we can help them. We can get them a safety plan right away. Are you safe? Let's get you a safety plan. But for the families out there or people seeing their loved ones going through this, the most important thing is never turn your back on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the abuser wants control and wants to isolate. So eventually, that's the end game. Is like
let me give you an example. I've tried to help you. I'm done.
No, don't
And
do that.
That's the wrong move.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please continue to be loving and caring and try it really hard because they need you. They need your love and support.
So I would also ask you. I'm getting deep a little deeper than I probably should at this point. But when you're dealing with you have various types of domestic violence. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean physical violence. Talk about that a little bit.
There's control. It's really all about power and control. So there could be verbal abuse. You're worthless. You're ugly. Why are you wearing that makeup today? And take it off. And there could be things like financial abuse. You have no money. You have no control over the money. You feel as if you have nowhere to go. And you're helpless.
Yeah.
Those are really harmful and isolating. Again, isolate you from your family. I hate your family. I don't want to go to family dinner. You're not going either. They hate them. They're terrible.
Right.
And these things they beat a person down every single day.
Yeah.
So the physical abuse is one thing, but I'm telling you that verbal and that other type of abuse, it really, really creates trauma too.
And it is a real thing where we're trying to keep a person from speaking to someone else. Because when you do that, if you're the controller, you're losing, at that point, you're losing control.
Right.
Or there's the chance someone might convince that person to walk away. And
we hope.
So we hope they do. So they can call. What number would somebody call?
Right. So we have a hotline 24/7. You can call it. We also have a chat with our website, and the hotline number is 315-797-7740. And there are trained advocates on that line all the time to talk to you as a victim or your family member who's just worried about you.
There's a lot going on in the news, and there are people who fear if I make the move, someone's not going to believe me, or it's going to go nowhere, and it's going to ultimately put me in danger. That's something real to think about.
We hear you, we believe you, and we have emergency shelters, and we have mechanisms in place to keep you safe.
All right. I want to bring in the chief, Mark Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice and tight with that mic. How often do you? You guys see this. I just can't imagine what a law enforcement has been handed in the last 25 years. You're not just police officers. There's so much more that you have to deal with today.
Yeah, we average about 8 to 10 domestic violence complaints a day.
Wow.
And on top of that, one of the things I'm very proud of is the fact that we've had a dedicated domestic violence unit for over 2 decades now. And in addition to that, to the credit to YWCA, they provided an advocate that works hand in hand with that police officer to help provide services. So it's been a great program that's been in place. And I got to give the sheriff some credit. About 5 years ago, he introduced a evidence-based program that's been very successful called the Domestic Violence Violence Reduction Team. And with that type of model, what we're doing danger assessments with the victims to see if they're high risk from these offenders, so that we can take a multidisciplinary approach to give services to the person and help solve their problems.
I think what we've learned in the last how many years in law enforcement has been incredible.
Definitely. Our work has changed a lot, but like I said, it's all about partnership, and none of us can do this job alone, and that's why teams like this are critical, not only to help us do our job, but we are giving it our all to protecting these survivors and holding the offenders accountable. I know I've said that probably 30 times since we've been sitting here today, but that's what it's all about for us, and just great partners that we have here with us.
And if you're wondering, this month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I thought it was very interesting what Kelly Owens had said, is that Oneida County is being used as a model for the rest of the state. That's pretty big. Either one of you want to take that?
Yeah, like I said, we do have a lot of the most modern elements needed to address domestic violence. And again, it takes a partnership to address these issues. And, a lot of times you've already spoken about this, you won't be able to reach the victim right away. There's always a power dynamic involved, sometimes a financial element involved in these relationships, including strong feelings towards each other. So, in the past, we've seen a lot of victims, they still have strong feelings for their offender and even make excuses for him. So, again, to Diane's point, it doesn't mean that we stop trying to give them help.
Yeah. How many times, Diane, I'll let you take this. How many times have you seen someone in your own family or within your own circle of friends where you've felt like you've convinced them, and then they go back?
Well, 7 to 9 times it normally takes for someone to
Really?
leave their abuser.
Wow.
And the really sad thing is, as I speak to your listeners, every single person that's listening, there is someone in your life that's going through this right now. There is 1 in 4 women. There is someone in your life, 1 in 7 to 10 men. There's someone in your life that is going through this. You may not know it yet, and you may never know it because they hide it really well.
Yeah.
But they're out there. There's someone either you work with, that you live with, and it's really difficult. And it's really prevalent among young people too right now, teens. Yes.
That's the other part of this, and it's the environment I guess you grow up in, but not always. You could have the model family, and with all the technology that these kids have, it could be your group of friends. It could be just the temptation.
You heard the district attorney this morning. He mentioned that just in Oneida County alone last year, there were 1,700 victims where arrests have been made in domestic violence in Oneida County. That's like 4 a day that arrests were made. And how many, didn't lead up to an arrest, or how many are unreported?
Right.
That's a scary number. That's why people have an obligation if they see something to say something.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us here.
And obviously, then go right to your website and find a lot of different resources. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say before we go with the two of you, the sheriff and the chief, today everything is on video, and the algorithm, the way it works. The other night I was just going through, and all of a sudden I'd watched an altercation with police and a person. And then I flipped, and another one came up. And I flipped, and because the algorithm's working it, and another one came up. And I got to tell you, in what I was watching was not de-escalation by authorities. And at least I'm not a professional, so maybe I'm wrong. But I can tell you that I am so proud to have what you guys do here and in Rome and in the Valley. I feel like we're so far ahead of even the issue of when it comes to mental illness. Someone who has a mental illness may not react the same way that you expect them to react when they've been stopped along the highway. But congratulations, kudos to you guys we are a model in that department as well.
Bill, I'm glad you brought that up because, I remember when we first introduced body-worn cameras to our police officers in 2015. a lot of people, especially in these civil rights groups, thought that they're going to catch a lot of police misconduct.
Yeah.
It's been just the opposite. The public has seen some of the abuse the officers are taking on a daily basis, and the de-escalation skills the officers are using to their credit. So actually the body-worn camera footage has helped a lot, especially dispelling a lot of complaints against our police officers and protecting them.
It's probably one of the most expensive ventures, but one of the most important that we've ever done is the body-worn cameras. We continue to expand that in our agency because we had different divisions. First, it was the road patrol. Then it went into the corrections division. Now we're going into our special patrol officers because it's critical. Not only is it important for the DA's office to use as evidence, but to the chief's point, people can get a real first eye glance of what our people are dealing with each and every day. It's just it's been an awesome tool.
And I know I'm saying this at a time when there's a trial going on in Oneida County, which outside of law enforcement and the corrections system. But that's a minority as well. There are a lot of people that work in these facilities that are good people and
100% agree.
Would not have allowed this
would
to happen.
Never allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that gave us that was a black eye for the area. But like I said, the men and women that work for me specifically in our corrections division, second to none. Just incredibly hardworking people. They have probably one of the most difficult jobs to do, but they do it well. And certainly, last thing I want to say is I am extremely proud of the relationship that the sheriff's office has with the Utica Police Department. It has never been stronger. We are involved in more things together than than any other agencies throughout the state. So it's a partnership that the chief and I are very, very proud of because we work together all the time.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you very
much.
Guys,
thank you so much. I appreciate it tremendously. I think today was a really, really important day. Part of today brought to you by Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville. Ricky Z will tell you, let's make your deal on a new Mazda where it's always easy to do business. Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville. And the River Hills Properties continuing to invest in upstate New York. Offices in Barneville, Little Falls, in Utica, Copenhagen, Newport, and coming soon to Rome. And your listing agent is with you as a team member, working with you from the beginning all the way till the end. Nobody sells homes like River Hills. Call 315-896-1009. And a thanks.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome. W295EI. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Celebrating